How we doing, folks? Good morning. So, let's play some Pocket to start, huh? Are some Moltres this morning? I think there's a chance that powering up stage ones with Moltres is better than Charizard, so I want to get some games in with it. A little more consistent and faster. Al, thank you for the 38 months. Going see if we can find our big bird. Ideally, we find a combination of Moltres and X speed here. There's the first part of that combination. So X speed would let me retreat this Growlithe and also use Moltres this turn. That is not the rest of it. That's super unlucky. So there are a Growlithe, 2 Vulpix, 2 Moltres, 2 Pokeballs in our bottom 12 cards here. Paper Darth, thank you for the 10 months and the very generous tier 3. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. Alright, knock me out, baby. That's a Pokeball. We'll Pokeball first. There's a Vulpix. Professor. There's a Moltres. Alright, it ain't over yet, gamers. We had a slightly awkward start, but I've got the X speed here, so it lets me pull Growlithe back here. And then Moltres' ability lets me potentially add some energy if we have a little bit of fortune. So we flip 3 coins here. For every heads, we get to put energy on the bench. Expect to get 1 on average. Getting 2 here is solid. We'll put 1 on Growlithe, and we'll put 1 on Vulpix here, because this sets us up some flexibility next turn. Oh, Executor EX, low rolling for the opponent a little bit, making up for some of our variants that we've had to start. Start working up towards either a deal 70 or retreat on here. I don't think I want to... So I have 2 Arcanine EX and 1 regular Arcanine in this deck. I don't think I want a regular Arcanine necessarily. So I'm going to chill on that for now, and we're going to go ahead and set up some more energy for our bench Pokemon here, hopefully. We don't currently have any idea how Pokemon Pocket intends to bring the various promo cards that are data mined to the game. This one on Ninetales. Ninetales does 90, but has to discard energy every time she does 90. Imagine flipping tails on Executor. Jeff would never. Fun fact, over the weekend, I played a game where I flipped 9 tails in a row on my Kangaskhan. Knight and Jester, thank you for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. Alright, so I think the plan here is... Well, I could take a knockout on one of their bench Pokemon. That doesn't seem very useful. I think I'm going to X-Speed. I'm going to put the Ninetales up. Treat X-Speed, reduce our retreat cost. I'm not going to put extra energy on this just in case it gets cracked for a bunch. I'm going to build up... I'm inclined to put the energy on Moltres so I could have all my attackers kind of ready to go next turn, potentially. It's probably just Growlithe, though, so I can have the Arcanine EX if we need it. So I'm gonna need to keep putting energy on Ninetales to keep attacking with it here, so getting the Arcanine teed up in the back line seems good. They did put a second energy on this Executor, which implies that they're setting up to retreat it, so they might be pulling this back here. But it would require them putting another energy on it to pull it back, and then they're kind of at a pretty big tempo loss at that point. They have X-Speed here. When will this game get its totally necessary crypto tie? And I mean, unironically, I expect this game will have a more thriving secondary market for its trading stuff than any crypto game ever will. This is an EX Executor, so you get to pick up the first 2 match points of this round, knocking this out. So any one more KO on anything, we'll get them here. Even if they can deal with this Ninetales, I've got Arcanine waiting in the wings here. Here, this does 30 damage plus poison, which only puts us to 10. Even if they have a Giovanni, it doesn't really matter. We're trying to buy a turn with this, but I've got the Arcanine with 3 energy on the Growlithe, so it doesn't matter here. But if I didn't have the Growlithe, this Sabrina would have bought my opponent a turn. This is something I've been doing in a lot of my decks that people always ask about in the YouTube comments is, Jeff, why are you playing more than just 2 evolutions for some of these Pokemon? So in this deck, I've got 2 Arcanine EX and 1 regular one. And games like this are why. Sometimes you low roll and you need an extra finisher. And being able to draw that extra one is good. Because you got to remember, we effectively have more than 2 copies of every basic because of Pokeball. So having more than 2 copies of evolutions for some of our really key things adds some good consistency. If you were here yesterday, we were talking about it. You no longer need a VPN to log into Pokemon Pocket, so it's not officially launched globally yet. But if you download the APK on Android, you can just log in and play without a VPN now. On iOS, I assume Apple doesn't let you sideload software and you're just SOL, but once you get it installed, you don't need a VPN anymore. Alright, let's fire off another one here. Yeah, you can play without a VPN on iOS, but you still need a VPN to install it initially, yeah? On Android, you don't need a VPN at all now. You can just download the APK, install the APK, and be good to go. Alright, we're opening up Moltres, but we're also going first, which is not stellar for us. But I get a second draw, and I need a Growlithe or a Vulpix to get going on the bench. They led Meowth, and they could have led Moltres here, which implies they don't have another Fire Basic. So I'm actually going to go ahead and Sabrina their Moltres up here, because they could have done the opposite here, and they chose not to. So I assume this is bad for them. And then I am done for the turn, so you can't attach energy on your first turn of the game. How do you win? You see these 3 little dots in the lower left and top right? Those are your knockout points. When you get 3 knockout points, you win the game. EX Pokemon award 2 knockout points. More powerful Pokemon like Moltres are EX. And then regular Pokemon like Meowth award 1 knockout point. There's Growlithe. So that's exactly what we're looking for here. Put our energy on Moltres, and you can see they didn't have the fire Pokemon. We were correct. We have to go ahead and just load this up. Flame. Okay, they found the Charizard. Their Moltres luck is similar to ours. And I think against Charizard, I want to build on regular Arcanine as opposed to EX. So I don't think the extra damage from EX is likely to matter, and I want to be a mostly one prize deck in this matchup, I think. Hey, chicken. Welcome back. Appreciate it. The red card there really didn't matter. Like, I had a lot of cards in my hand, but most of them were bad, as is often the case when you get a lot of cards in your hand in this game. Just to get it out of our deck. If they have X speed plus Charizard, I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble here. No, I guess they just need Charizard, right? Yeah, I think I messed up here. I actually needed to pull Moltres EX out, and I needed to start attacking with stage 1s. Was the mistake I made here. And they have Charizard, we're just dead. So, if they have a Charizard, Charizard does a one-hit knockout ability, essentially, and they can put an energy on Moltres and retreat back. And my EX Pokemon up front here is worth 2 match points, and it's going to take me 2 attacks to kill their Charizard. So I'm essentially not going to have, by giving up 2 knockout points on their first knockout, they're going to be able to race me. I think you sweaty gamers who want constant ranked ladders and extra prizes for endlessly grinding games should learn to play games for fun. I think one of the reasons why Marvel Snap was incredibly successful is it has a super casual focus and is explicitly not a competitive game, and I think it's not a mistake that Pokemon Pocket doesn't have a ranked ladder currently, and might at some point in the future, but I think they're incredibly smart for not making it a priority. I think Runeterra is a fantastic example of it doesn't matter how polished and competitive your game is, the gameplay and casual play matters more than anything. There be dragons. All right, second X speed. We got Growlithe here. You don't get to attach to energy on turn 1, but Growlithe's exactly what we're looking for. It's going to let us switch into this Arcanine EX and start blasting on our 3rd turn, hopefully. A lot of these decks are playing red cards, so I'm just going to put Arcanine EX up right away here. Don't want to accidentally get that shuffled away. Rats, we needed 2 heads on that. That's fine. The opponent's start is very slow. The Dragonite deck needs 4 energies to attack with its namesake. And they can't attack with this because they're a 2-color deck and they're missing lightning energy. And they're going to be missing lightning energy again next turn. They had a Sabrina here to force my thing up into play. And I'm just going to attach energy and pass out. It would have been nice if I could have gotten them both powered up simultaneously, but I'll just wait a turn and start cracking them with the Inferno Outrush. Going on, Meta for Thoughts. Thanks for the 14 months. I've been enjoying Pokemon Pocket a lot. It's been a lot of fun. And then this game is now exactly over because we have a Sabrina and we get to knock out their Dragonair, and then they have no energy and just a Drowsy, and they are very dead. Yeah. So the Dragonite deck feels like it has an incredibly polarized matchup table. Anything remotely aggressive just like puts it deep underground like we just did there, and anything kind of slow gets chewed up and spit out by it. I also think that kind of matchup is a good example of the appeal of playing like an Arcanine build of this as opposed to Charizard. The Charizard build of this deck would have been slowed down in that game and not have been able to pressure them the way our stage 1 that only needed 3 energies was able to pressure them. Alright, gamers, we need to roll a Twitch ad. We're going to play some more of this Moltres deck when we get back, and then we're going to switch off to playing some stage 1 decks I've been working on. Thanks for hanging out. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, the good Dragonite deck, a bunch of people have been putting Dragonite and calling it one of the best decks in the game, and that seems really puzzling to me. It plays Weezing. Yeah, the Dragonite builds I've liked the most have a good stage 1 attacker. But basically every deck people have been calling good in this game are purely linear aggro decks that have one game plan, and when that game plan comes up short, the deck just doesn't function. There's basically no people working on building dynamic, I can attack with more than one thing. It's just all, I put energies on Mewtwo, Mewtwo attacks or I lose. I put energies on Charizard, Charizard attacks or I lose. I put energies on Dragonite, Dragonite attacks or I lose. Table and play, thank you for the 17 months. A lot of what I've been exploring and has felt reasonable to me in terms of deck building is more dynamic plans. I really like the decks that have 3 evolution lines, ones that have a lot of stage 1 Pokemon. I think making your opponent knock out 3 of your Pokemon as opposed to just 1 plus an EX has a lot of value. Love in Pocket, the gameplay is better than expected. Hopefully it has lasting power. Me too, table play. I was genuinely a little bit worried Pocket's gameplay was going to be bad when they first announced this game because they showed no gameplay in any of their announcements. And the first day I got it, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in. Yeah, Marty, exactly. Not super high rolling, just like a more consistency, like aggressive card. Yeah, if you look at, what was the... Oh my. Take you off my phone screen for a second so I can click around without showing you my everything. Oh, what's this? This is... So it's funny to me how quickly people decided to write a bunch of stuff off. I think I loosely agree that a Starmie deck is good, and I agree that a Pikachu deck is probably good too. Honestly, I think these cards are pretty close to what I'm playing. But like looking at how a lot of people have been building decks, one, I think red card is not very good. Yeah, like this Greninja build, I think is much, much better than playing Articuno. It's a website called Pokemon Zone, and you gotta understand all of these things are based on just pure feels from people playing small sample sizes. And like calling these high tier feels weird to me. Like a lot of the people I've seen post tier lists have put this as being a high tier deck, and I'd be shocked if Dragonite is actually high tier. And then this playing 18 traders with Articuno and playing 18 traders with Zapdos. This deck, in my experience, is just really clunky in general. And this one basically only wins when it like super high rolls Misties. It's way too early to make tier lists, but you gotta understand, like, most people that play games like this just want to copy and paste deck lists. So there's a lot of people giving really strong takes who don't even have a lot of experience with Pokemon in general as a card game, that are just like, want to generate clicks and get in early. Well, Untapped have a take on Pocket. So Untapped is going to have a Pocket site to post decks on, but it's unlikely that Untapped's going to be able to have a tracker for a mobile-only game. Misery seems like she's another pretty mediocre Marvel Snap card. Unfortunately. Another Dragonite matchup. Looking for an X speed and a Moltres. not the droids I'm looking for. See if they have their wheezing. They do not. Okay. Put Ninetales out here. And I don't think I'm evolving into either of the Arcanides. I think we're just chilling. One of the nice things about waiting to evolve is if they hit the wheezing and poison me, evolving clear status conditions. With them not hitting wheezing, I think this is again one of the spots where I'd rather have regular Arcanine than Arcanine EX. Regular Arcanine is only one prize if they knock it out, and Arcanine EX isn't one-shotting. Arcanine EX isn't one-shotting Dragonite either way. Wait, they have Dark Energy in their deck too? They must have just net decked this. So you can see my opponent's on-deck energy here is Dark, which a lot of the people that have been playing that deck, you turn that off and you just use Wheezing as a... You just use Wheezing as a damage soak. Alright, so this game's gonna come down to a Dragonite flip here. Because I have failed to draw extra Pokemon, unfortunately. So, Dragonite's attack does 50 damage at random 4 times, but it can choose Pokemon that are already being knocked out. So we need them to deal 50 to one of my things 3 times here, as opposed to 50 to each of them. If I would have drawn a third Pokemon here, we would have been very likely to win this game. But because I only have 2, this Draco Meteor is kind of just a quick flip. My first reaction to starting Pocket yesterday and playing 4 to 5 hours, the new player experience is very good. Completely agree. And then, unfortunately, we lost that quick flip. So, we lost 2 big bits of variance there. So my opponent only has 2 knockout points, but we're out of Pokemon. So, we both low-rolled their 1 Dragonite attack, and we low-rolled how many Pokemon that we drew. And I needed to average roll one of those 2 things in order to win that game. They also high-rolled in that they drew 3 of their Pokemon. If they would have only drawn 2 Pokemon, our Sabrina would have gotten them at a time too. And that game was really, one of the things that highlights to me about that game is not only did we low roll those 2 things, but we also didn't start a Moltres, and we were still able to quickly pressure that deck and be in a spot where the game was close. King Koopa? We have an opponent who conceded. A default flare setting would be really nice. Having to reset my flare every single game every single time I build a deck is annoying. Are there more people in the not beginner queue? Someone asked earlier why we're playing the beginner queue versus trading card game player, and during the first week, whenever you selected this higher one, there were only like a handful of other people in it. But maybe that's not the case now with no longer needing a VPN. Lost to coin flip concedes. A lot of people actually consider going second to be the more powerful thing to be doing in this game, Little Nuki. It depends on the deck a little bit too, but like Moltres decks like we're playing, for example, actually want to go second. So going first here is losing the coin flip in terms of how we're starting. Second Growlithe is not the droid we're looking for here. Pokemon Pocket will be a regular part of our content. You should not expect any RPG content here on the regular. Only sponsored opportunities. Oh no! Please don't red card my hand missing Moltres. No, don't stop. I think Misty is my least favorite card in the game. It feels like the highest variance, least engaging card the game has. My favorite part of every mobile game tutorial, the settings were made available and I disabled the sounds. Oh, I like the sounds. Genuinely, I think the #1 thing that tells me people haven't really figured out deck building in this game yet is all of these decks I keep looking at that have red card in them. Gonna be dead if they have a Gyarados. Maybe they also bricked a little bit. It's probably because the auto builder keeps putting in. No, a lot of content creators are playing red card in most of their decks. I do not think it's fair to blame the auto builder. Arcanine does 20 itself, unfortunately, here, so they have a Gyarados. We're gonna be up a creek. Yeah, I agree, Marvin. I think a lot of it is people who are regular Pokemon TCG players and know red card would be good in regular TCG and haven't appropriately adjusted to Pokemon Pocket yet. So, if we would have either had Moltres or if they hadn't rolled 2 heads on their Misty, we could have been in that game. But again, two paired low rolls together. Not a whole lot we could do there. Maybe, so playing Sabrina on the previous turn doesn't do anything. They get to pick which Pokemon they put up. They simply put up Lapras and then we're in the same spot. I am not streaming the iPad to a PC monitor. I'm not playing on an iPad. Part of the reason why everything is so smooth is because I'm not streaming this. I'm playing it over a capture card. Red card is a traitor that shuffles your opponent's hand into their deck and draws them 3 new cards. And the basic game theory for why red card is terrible is because in Pokemon Pocket, you're generally playing your cards out, and the only time red card is hitting a large hand of cards is when your opponent's hand is completely bricked. And if your opponent's hand is completely bricked, why do you need to red card them? Yes, Pokemon has a very chess-adjacent feel with some key variance elements because how much of the gameplay information is face-up. Agree with that. In fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and Sabrina here just to switch these Cubones so they don't have an active Cubone with an energy on it. It slows them down for a turn if they have Marowak EX. Yeah, my phone is both charging and sharing its screen via USB-C. They have an X speed, which lets them swap back, so if they have a Marowak EX, they might be in a little bit of trouble here. One of these days, we're both gonna get to go second and have a Moltres. I think Victory Bell often ends up just being worse than Pidgeotto, while also being more color restricted. I think if they have average variance on this Marowak EX, we're dead. Our draws have really not been conducive this morning. A whole lot of... We've had a couple of close games. That game, there was nothing we could do. A few others have been close. It's even like one thing to break our way. What does Pidgeotto do? Pidgeotto, it has a Sabrina as its Pokemon power, and you can use it from the bench. As of yesterday morning, you don't need a VPN to log in anymore. We're going second. Do we have a Moltres? All right, no Moltres to start, but we're going second at least, which is nice. If you haven't seen Pidgeotto, there is a Pidgeotto Arbok highlight up on my YouTube channel. You should check it out. My body is ready to die to a Misty High Roll. Could find a X speed. We get to Moltres on 1. 2 X speeds and 13 cards. Lovely. This is why you play X speed. Lets us reduce our retreat cost by 1. So that way when we open on not Moltres, we can draw into it and then still attack with it on the first turn. Pupper pumped up. Darquasius, thank you for the 2 years. Love seeing the Pokemon content here and on the YouTube channel. Glad you're enjoying the YouTube stuff as well. I feel like the editor's been killing it over there. Research and see what we find. It's wrong to put out the second, another energy to retreat anyways, I think. So let's go ahead and... I'm gonna put the Arcanine EX out. We'll leave this other one in here. I just want to make it less appealing to red Cardus if they draw it. And since I have the other Growlithe, I can play the Arcanine out a little bit more aggressively. This is explicitly not the same as Paper Pokemon, which is one of the reasons why I think it could be successful as a digital card game. Paper Pokemon tends to be a little bit slow and clunky in terms of gameplay. So Greninja here lets them Water Shuriken something for 20 every turn. So my favorite cards I've been playing. I think the comments about Pokemon Pocket being coin flip dependent are interesting to me because if you think Pokemon Pocket is more coin flip dependent than other card games you've played, I think it means you're bad at identifying when coin flips are happening in the other card games you play. So I'm going to Sabrina, force them to switch Pokemon here. Water Shuriken can target any Pokemon on the board, is part of why it's powerful. So they switch to Staryu. So this, if I knock out the Staryu, this could do 100, and then this could do 20 to my Arcanine. So that would be 120, and this does 20 to itself. So I have to decide here, do I want to give up the Moltres here? I could set up more energies on my bench, but they're gonna knock out the Moltres next turn regardless. I think it's energy knock out the Staryu, and then I can knock out a single EX to be good here. But they are gonna take 2 prizes back when they switch their Articuno up and put up my Moltres. They X-Speed to knock out Moltres if you lead up. Yeah, but X-Speed's a pretty commonly played card. I think it's pretty likely that they'll have it. So now, when they knock out my Moltres, they take 2 knockout points here. I think with the Greninja Water Shuriken, we're down. No, I don't think you play Blade in decks that only have 1 target for him. I think you want at least 2 targets for Blade. No, I doubt I'll play more Wukong. Playing that Wukong boss and being stuck at it for 90 minutes probably means I'm uninstalling and never touching the game again. Generally speaking, if I want to play a game that makes me mad, I'll come lose a coin flip or get locked out in Marvel Snap. I'm not going to sit there and play a single player game that makes me angry. I was fairly neutral during the sponsored segment because you're not supposed to like be overly negative, but I probably wouldn't have kept playing that game for 2 hours if it wasn't a sponsored thing yesterday. After the first hour or so, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and keep doing this. So, something that I've been experimenting with in deck building is that Caterpie's Find a Friend puts a grass Pokemon from your deck in your hand. So something I've been trying out is playing Caterpie, one Butterfree, one Metapod inside of decks that are 2 colors, because Butterfree only needs 1 grass energy to attack, and it has a Pokemon power that heals everything every turn. So we can kind of splash this character in our deck, so to speak. Unfortunately, we haven't found any of our other basics here, but we do at least have the whole Butterfree line guaranteed now at this point, and that's the grass energy next turn. So if we don't get red carded, I bet the Nidoran deck doesn't have room for red card. We're in a pretty solid spot here. We need to find like a Froakie or a Fossil next turn, and then I think we should be in a pretty commanding position. Yes, one of the things people have been doing is playing Butterfree with, or just Caterpie with Venusaur. I'm skeptical that's good, if I'm being honest. I think I'm gonna Sabrina them here. Although I guess I get to get rid of their energy. Getting rid of their energy has a lot of value here. The seal's 20 off of everything, including itself. I'm not convinced 2-color decks are worthwhile in this game yet, but I've been experimenting with a lot of different 2-color Greninja decks. And I think the key to doing it is playing characters that only need a singular colored energy. Like Butterfree. Has weakness felt like it's much of an issue? Not really. There's some games where it can, like, make or break you based on variance, but it doesn't feel like the sole dependent thing of the game is purely that variance element. Yeah, Greninja's a good character to splash a color, because Froakie and Frogadier only need a colorless energy, is exactly right. So our bottom 10 cards have 2 Pokeballs, 2 Froakies, and 2 fossils in it. That's such an incredible low roll. Yeah, Obastar's another character that I think is worth exploring as a splash. Agree. I think this is the first time I've had 5 energies that are 2 different colors on a character. Like, unironically, might still win this game. Holy! It does exist! Aerodactyl is a card that I didn't really like the look of it when I first read it. Yeah, got him. But the more I've thought about it, the more I like the idea of it. I think Aerodactyl is potentially the answer to the question, how do my single prize decks beat Charizard EX and Mewtwo EX, things that want a lot of energies on them? When your Butterfree solos the Nido deck. The Nido deck might not be very good, but Butterfree at least did some stuff there. Butterfree is one of my favorites as a child. I've been poking at that package and a few things. Scyther is in the game, but it's not very good. Feels like it's waiting for a scissor. Going first is a little sad. We really want to go second. In fact, going first here means that this Mewtwo is going to get to knock out our Caterpie after we get to use its Find a Friend. Although Sabrina might change that dynamic. If you hit the cap on deck slots, I really wish I could have 30 deck slots in this game, just like Marvel Snap. 15 is way too few. When do you want to be first? The characters that most want to go first, Frogadaire's actually a good example on something that's nice to go first. You open on Froakie, you evolve to Frogadaire on turn 2, and then put an energy on it. Going first gives you an evolution advantage while giving you an energy disadvantage. I think we need some more good stage 1s with 1 energy attacks in the game in order for going first to be better. Alright, if they have X speed, we're gonna die here probably. Which is a relatively common card. Sabrina's kind of mediocre for us too, I suppose. If I hit Froakie this turn and hit Butterfree next turn, we could be okay. 10 cards though, so a little bit unlikely. You're late, Aerodactyl. So we basically have 4 Froakies in my deck right now. There's 2 Froakies and 2 Pokeballs. And then our variance has been really bad this morning. We've had like way more than half of our games have had like a third of the deck that we need buried in the bottom half. Alright, let's tap an ad roll, and we'll try some more of this when we return. Thanks for hanging out. Don't go anywhere, gamers. Appreciate the early crew that's here for some pocket. We'll be suffering through some misery in Marvel Snap later this afternoon, and we're done. Think of Kangaskhan. I think Kangaskhan is really solid. I've got him in a few decks. So, to share where I've been playing a bunch of Pocket off stream and working on deck ideas. A lot of the decks I've been working on has been trying to figure out what I've been calling the frog leg shell, which is basically Greninja plus a second color attacker or a secondary good attacker. And like, I think Kangaskhan is potentially good at these types of shells because he sets up and does an okay amount of damage. I think there's a lot of things you could do with Greninja as a secondary. I've liked this one a lot. Arbok, and Farfetch'd as the secondaries. Because Arbok locking something in while you Greninja down their bench feels very clean. This one also felt okay. Greninja with Venusaur to have like a big sustain to switch into. I think Greninja is easily the most flexible stage 2 in the game right now. Been poking at him in a lot of different places. Let's freeze the disc up and pedal a little bit while we're going here, huh? It's 11 months, Cosmonaut. Thanks for the content. I recently stopped playing Snap, and Pocket feels like a breath of fresh air. I appreciate if you could show the cards in your deck when switching. I don't know that, like, I don't know. I guess I can pull them up in between here, but If you have a question, feel free to ask while the game is going on, but doing just like full deck text in between, I'd rather just keep playing games if I'm being honest. There isn't a good way to show the whole deck on screen, is the TLDR. There's a reason why my editor is like manually cutting up and building deck pages for the highlights. There are Froakies in my deck, look at that. We're going second, so we're gonna open on the Caterpie here. Jay Simmer, thank you for the 5 months. Going second means I get to slide an energy onto the Caterpie and fish up one of its evolutions. Because again, the only other grass Pokemon in our deck are Metapod and Butterfree. Are Sabrina, I guess? Sure. I guess we'll just start cracking them. What's Aerodactyl do? Aerodactyl is 2 colorless energy, flip a coin, if heads, shuffle your opponent's active Pokemon into their deck. The basic idea on that one is they have a big 2-stage or EX Pokemon with a bunch of energies, you can reset it. It's designed to punish people who go all in on a single thing instead of having diverse range of attackers. I see people talking about the playmat switching. One of the primary pieces of feedback I gave my contact at Pokemon is they need an option to turn off the screen constantly zooming in and out. It is it's not particularly motion sickness friendly at the moment. I guess I could get knocked out by an Arbok, but they already played one on their bench, so I'm gonna go ahead and stay in here. See if we get punished for this. Back get punished for this. They take their first match point here. The Amber out in case we draw another Aerodactyl. Hey, so long, bud. Those energies, we don't get a knockout point for this, but their energies are gone and they gotta redraw this stage 1 and the other. So really, really big tempo loss here for them. Yes, Aerodactyl buys a ton of time is exactly correct. So, Pidgeot here can drive off, basically getting a Sabrina every turn, regardless of where it's at. Let's start putting energy on Metapod here, and I think we're just gonna discard this and then put the Aerodactyl up. This means I can't use my second Aerodactyl, but I think that's fine. If we win this coin flip, it's probably the game. We missed, that's fine, we'll get another shot next turn. Although I guess they get to drive off again on the Metapod, and I have the X speed. No, you cannot Sabrina yourself. It's only opponents. But Sabrina is already one of the best cards in the game. It would be significantly better if you could Sabrina yourself. I feel like Aerodactyl should do a little damage on Tails. I actually disagree with that. I think it's already really powerful. I think making it be all or none is probably appropriate. Yeah, it's a shame we didn't have a Froakie building up while we were doing all this switching around. Because we've bought a lot of time this game, but we haven't been able to generate any value while we were buying that time. So putting this out does actually mean I have to hit this heads or we lose the game, but I think I needed to hit this heads or we lose the game either way, so. This is our fourth attack. Can we win on 2 of them? Cool. So we're exactly 50% on shuffling them away. We're ready to hit the next one too here. So they'll put an energy up. They'll crack us for 40. And then they're not going to be able to attack with the other Arbok next turn. And we can't retreat, so we need to put this snake away. I suppose I could Sabrina them because it has a retreat cost of 2, but yeah, it shuffles the whole card into their deck. So the energies don't get shuffled in because energies aren't cards in this game, but it puts the stage 1 and basic in. Close set. If we would have high rolled a little bit on the Aerodactyl, we would have come out ahead there. Or if we would have found our other basic sooner. The Frogadair getting cracked on turn 3 was a tough beat. Yes, most Pokemon attack-friendly socks require specific types of energy, which is why you can't just put any mix of Pokemon in a deck. So like this deck that I'm playing that has two different colors of Pokemon in it has largely Pokemon that only use the white or colorless energy. So this deck's explicitly built to mitigate the expected variance of having a 2-color deck. I'm not playing the Professor's Research on one because I already have Frogadair teed up. I'd like to make a red card a bit worse if they have it. They turn 4 cards into 3. And I redrew Frogadair. Got me. Our colorless deck in this game. Probably not a very good one. And I'd be surprised if it's optimal to have no colors in your deck. Like, you could play good colorless Pokemon and then also grab the best Pokemon from a neutral color. There's the Executor, so it's at least 30, and if they get heads, it does another 30. Our Frog gets bumped off here. We're probably in a little bit of trouble. Alright. Live to see another day. Like one of your finest Greninjas, please, deck. Oh. we're definitely retreating. It's just a question of, am I putting up this old amber? I think it is. I think it is. Because if they brick on the coin flip, the amber lives at 10, and then I can discard it, giving them nothing. And if they hit the coin flip, they get a match point, and that's fine. And then I can put up a full health Aerodactyl. Decision, DM. Thank you for the 17 months. I think that's exactly correct, Slingdinger. Because so much of the information in this game is face up, the coin flip aspect makes it so you can't deterministically know all of the outcomes, which is definitely a feature, not a bug. Metapod. Metapod's a bug, though, for sure. Long eggs. Decision. Thanks for the 17. Alright, 10 cards in our deck, 3 stage 2 evolutions, and a professor, so we're 40% to get one of our stage 2s online next turn here, loosely. Yes, if Aerodactyl puts the entirety of their Pokemon back into their deck, we do win the game. This opponent's got a lot of basics, though, so it seems like it's unlikely to be a good win condition. Not that we won't try. Alright, we're gonna hit research next turn, and we're gonna draw double Greninja. It's gonna be great. Charmander is ready and waiting. They are ready to Charizard. This gets me nothing, yes? Yep. Might as well play it out, though, so that way red card doesn't shuffle it back in. It's a duck! Hey, look! Whoa! There's stage 2 Pokemon in my deck! That's exciting. Neat! So, Water Shuriken lets me do 20 to anything. I got X speed, retreat this Aerodactyl back. Grab the first match point here. Aerodactyl had taken some Pokemon off the board, but not in a way that gave anybody match points. But both us and our opponent just had, like, incredibly awkward starts here. So, Butterfree heals everything for 20 each turn. But I must have forgotten what their card did. I would like the record to reflect that the person in chat who told me we should play this queue because it's the TCG player queue that was more competitive. As is always the case, competitive card games don't exist, and everything is casual everywhere. I think I'm gonna retreat this back and try and Aerodactyl away this Butterfree. Make sure we tap our Pokemon power. Bye, friend. Smell you later. Aerodactyl seems like a rude card. Rude is a very good description of Aerodactyl. Not only do you put 3 cards back into their deck, but it, like, puts them down 2 turns worth of energy, right? Imagine playing red card when you can be Aerodactyling people. Exactly. Second, can I get a Caterpie in the opener? I can. Holy gamers, is this the fabled really good start? I get to fish up 2 Froakies? And I have an old Amber? My body is ready for my really good start to Dynamisty flipping 3 heads here. Yes. Get out of here, RNGesus! You have no power here! Take your RNG BS and go away. Nobody loves you. People unironically tell you Aerodactyl is too high variance while loading up Misty Articuno. My frogs! To me! To me! Frogadair! Oh, baby. Oh, baby! I need a friend! Send help! I need a friend!